Active Investor here, bringing you another independent analysis. This time we're taking a look at ticker symbol AVXL. That's Anavex Life Sciences Corporation. The chart we're looking at here today is a 5-minute chart. Each candlestick on this chart representing 5 minutes of trading. This is a focus on an intraday level. As you can see, AVXL was hanging out up here pretty much all day, right around the $7.20 mark, and then staircase mode all the way down, breaking levels of support which it almost bounced off of, but it couldn't hold that level. Tried to bounce off here again, couldn't hold that level. Tried to bounce off here, and it actually did, pushing its way back up through resistance, but then getting denied at a previous support level. As we know, pivot points can act as areas of support and resistance, or vice versa, depending on the price action. So it got denied there and then found support at this area before breaking down and finally breaking through support here. Now, this could have been a very ugly close towards the end of the day if people decided to sell off even more so, since we were already down below support the last 15 minutes of the trading period. But the last 5 minutes, the volume came back a little bit comparatively to the last 5 minutes previously, and then we pushed back up and closed above support. So what are these pivot points that I'm talking about? Let's take a look at what those levels are. So the first one up top is going to be 525. And the next one in the middle is going to be 482. And finally on the bottom, that final pivot point is 435. Now you can see here the entire time the 50 period average was above our candles, indicating that 50 periods ago, even up here, the price was higher than the shorter periods. That purple period being the 13 and the 20 simple moving average being the, well, 20 simple moving average green line. So above here, the trend was already a bit down since the yellow line was above those other two. But when we sold off, you can see that's when we had a divergence with the moving averages. And when they diverge so much from each other, that indicates that we have a large volatility in price. Now, as the price consolidated and found support here and channeled a bit between those pivot points, that's when we saw our moving averages converge a bit. And even after hours, you can see that the convergence is becoming closer and closer, with that 50 period average approaching the 20 and the 13, which had already converged over here. Now, unfortunately, the 20 crossed back over the 13. Originally, the 13 had crossed over here, which indicated that there could be a possible trend reversal. However, really, to see a trend reversal, we would need both purple and green lines to cross over this yellow 50 period average. So we had 13 cross over the 20, but the trend still wasn't quite up at all. 20 ended up crossing back over, and we returned to that entire bearish order, yellow, green, purple. We want to see it purple, green, yellow if you're long on it. If you're short, everything went pretty well. Now let's take a look at our RSI down here at the bottom, our relative strength index. Take a look at where we went oversold from overbought. So we went oversold there, and then we went oversold over here. And then oversold here after hours, but after hours always has a bit less merit due to the low volume, as you can see. So we're not going to keep that up. But you can see that when we went oversold here, it was a much lower oversold point, going from about $7.20 to $4.35. So the trend was absolutely down, and I wouldn't have even thought of longing this thing until we made a higher oversold point. So for example, we went oversold here, and let's say hypothetically our candles ended up here, above support at 525, and then maybe we went oversold there. Well, then that would tell me we had a lower oversold point, but now we have a higher oversold point, meaning on an intraday level on this 5-minute chart, there could be a potential long there for a day trade, you know, keeping in mind that the close is there, but this is just a hypothetical example. Then it would be much safer to long it. So though there was a bit of a swing there from the 435 pivot point to $5.25, it was definitely a risky one, but it definitely paid off for those who took the risk. You just had to have gotten out up here, and if you were using these pivot points, you would have known. You would have seen, all right, I'm longing it on support, I see it breaking above, and I know that there's resistance here, so I'm going to sell. And if you did that, you took profits before it came back, and if you didn't sell, you would have broken even at the close. So for anyone who managed to get this in on this play, you definitely made a good little trade there. Congratulations. And if you were shorting this, you would also have a very nice play as well. So ideally, what do we want to see for the longs? Well, we want to see our candles cross above this 50 period average. And as you can see, that average is right about 482, incidentally enough. So that means if our candles break above the 482 pivot point, most likely we'll also be breaking above that 50 period average. But that's not quite good enough. We're going to need to hold 482 in order for these simple moving averages, the 20 and 13 periods, to also move back up. So if we break 482 and turn into support, all our averages will converge, and we can have that bullish cross with the purple and green crossing above the yellow, and our candles will also be above the yellow. And then we can work our way to 525 and possibly gap up. So let's see what it brings tomorrow for AVXL. Definitely not a good day here today, but with the volume coming back in potentially and some bullishness coming back in, we can see that this could be a potential long. So let's see what it does tomorrow and the rest of the week. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and consider joining us in activeinvestors.net in our chat room. We'd love to see you there. Have a good one.